Welcome to the Business Miracles Podcast. I'm Heather Dominick, founder of BusinessMiracles.com. Since 2010, I've been training highly sensitive entrepreneurs and leaders from around the globe to work less while making more, impact and income by doing things differently. I'm so glad you've joined me. Listen in and get ready for a shift in the way you view yourself, your work, your life. A business miracle. This is A Course in Business Miracles, episode number 118, Inside Highly Sensitive Leadership with online eyebrow artist Macy Askari. Welcome to this special series of the Business Miracles podcast, Inside Highly Sensitive Leadership, where you'll be hearing real stories from real highly sensitives creating real success. In today's episode, I'm really thrilled to spend some time talking to Business Miracles community member and highly sensitive leader, Macy Askari. I invite you to listen in as I talk with Macy to hear about how before she joined the Business Miracles community and highly sensitive leadership training program, she was overwhelmed with trying to manage the energy of other people. After she joined the program, she has been able to come to a deep knowing around her own thoughts, own feelings, and own emotions so that she's no longer taken over by the emotions of those around her. In addition to being a valued member of the Business Miracles community and highly sensitive leadership training programs, Macy has been fascinated by eyebrows since she was a little girl growing up in Shiraz, Iran. Being surrounded by beautiful Persian women with striking eyebrows, she would draw eyes and eyebrows on paper for hours and hours. Little did she know then that this passion would one day lead to drawing eyebrows on the faces of women and men for a career. She has been in the aesthetics and permanent makeup industry for more than 2 decades. She abides by all the current industry standards and ethics. Despite being one of the most educated permanent makeup artists in the world, Macy is constantly pursuing further education by training around the world and learning from the best of the best. I really enjoyed this conversation with Macy, where we dove deep into talking about the important role that the divine plays for Macy and her success as a highly sensitive leader. Enjoy. Macy, welcome to the Business Miracles podcast and Inside Highly Sensitive Leadership series. I am just really looking forward to this time to connect one-on-one with you today. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited and honored to be here with you.
Beautiful. So you and I, Macy, have been connected at the time of this recording for just about a year now. And I have just really been so impressed with you and the way that you have been going about your highly sensitive journey, your highly sensitive entrepreneur and leader journey. And I know that your process of embracing who you are as a highly sensitive has been something that is new for you or different for you, or maybe even something that you knew about but haven't intentionally given that certain level of attention to before. I don't know. I'd love to hear just more from you about what it's been like for you to really embrace who you are as a highly sensitive entrepreneur and leader.
Yes. How I came to get to know my highly sensitive nature was I started my growth journey, transformation journey, just kind of accidentally with another coach outside of the Business Miracles. And prior to that, I always knew that I was different. I was a deep thinker and I just really took on people's energies, and I knew that. And then when I started the work and actually, when I started my business, I realized the magnitude of it. And I was very excited to be with people, and people were very attracted, to my energy. But little by little, I started to feel like, oh my God, I'm being, ran over by a truck. And I started to notice that I was taking on a lot of energy, and I wasn't really that familiar with empaths or, any of things like that. But I was very interested in, spirituality. I was starting to play with it and reading different books. I was very fond of Dr. Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay and all of these people. And fast forward to when I started my sort of growth and transformation journey, working with my coach, a couple of years into it, she just very gently suggested the Highly Sensitive Person book. And I started to read it, and I started to really resonate with a lot of it. And working with that just kind of casually actually it was last year around this time, she invited me to one of your roundtable discussions, which I just eat up everything that she puts in front of me. I really have that trust. And so I showed up, and I knew in my soul that was where I had to be, despite the scariness of the commitment and the investment and all of that stuff. So I joined, and here we are.
Here we are. So that's pretty significant because that was in the middle of the pandemic, right? It was actually in the first few months of the pandemic. And that just says so much about yourself and your commitment to your own personal growth and business growth journey. But also, as you said, trust in that coach who I personally know is also part of the Business Miracles community. So that just really warms my heart because there is such a level of that trust and care as a part of our community. So that's a real, honor for me to just hear a little bit more about, your side of how it is that coach relationship brought you and I to be connected, and then has allowed you to really dive deeper and further into your own, again, highly sensitive entrepreneurial journey. So what would you say maybe has been one of the most significant, internal shifts for you so far with being a part of the Highly Sensitive Leadership Training Program? What's changed for you most about the way you relate with you?
Well, I finally know the meaning of knowing myself. I mean, when I started my whole coaching journey and joining Business Miracles, I wasn't expecting to be making any connections as deep as I do with the divine. It was sort of, I want to say, accidental. I always felt, now I'm going to name it spiritual somewhat, even though I wasn't really sure. But when I started to get to know myself, and I started to sort of get to know my highly sensitive nature, and at first I was freaked out by it, but then I started to accept it and embrace it. And then I, made that major connection with the divine. And I just don't feel like I'm the only one in charge here. And with the tools that I've been given and constant, teachings of the Business Miracles, I have also gotten to know my feelings and emotions and my thoughts, and I still, acknowledge them, but I'm not taken by them. I can see what's going on with other people and I can empathize, but they are not driving me. I'm not taken out, and I use those emotions and feelings to guide me through life and to show me what needs to be shifted. I may, if something happens, I will, feel the feelings and I think, oh, that was a little whatever, or I didn't like that, but that's all it's going to be. I don't react to them. I then, go right into my tools, my energy management tools, and they show me the next step. And it's just so beautiful how it happens. And it's a constant, and I think it's my deep belief in that everything is happening for me and not to me. And that is something that I adopted, really owned it and embody it through Business Miracles.
Wow. I so appreciate that you're speaking to this aspect of the connection with the divine, because in whatever language that translates to for anyone who's listening, whether it's divine or spirit or source or Buddha or God, goddess, whatever it might be for you, what I really hear you speaking to is one of our core strengths as highly sensitives, which is that we are deeply spiritual by nature. And what that allows for us when we begin to embrace it is that we can bring that into everything that we do, including business. And it doesn't need to be compartmentalized, but actually, one, we don't work really well in regards to compartmentalization as highly sensitives. So when we do just allow that aspect of our strengths to be a part of everything that we do, again, including business, it changes everything. It changes everything about how we go about something like being in business. And it really is an entirely new way of operating in business. It definitely is different than the other 80% or those who are not highly sensitive. But wow, does it work for us? So I just, again, so appreciate hearing you speak about that. And also, one of the key teachings that I share is happening for you, not to you, is such a place of empowerment for those of us who are highly sensitive, where, those who are untrained as highly sensitives do tend to feel like the world is an onslaught. But as you so beautifully said, it doesn't need to be that way. So again, I'm just so glad that you spoke about this connection with the divine. And I just have a sense that's really resonating for a lot of listeners. And so then from there, I would love to hear about, maybe if there's a certain tool, because I heard you mention the energy management tools, or teaching, because I also heard you mention that's really just made a difference and helped you have that connection on a more frequent basis, or, maybe even, a daily basis. Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, actually, I feel like my journey of being finally home, which is the Business Miracles, is that, when I started following books of Dr. Wayne Dyer, and then it led to other thought leaders, and words of A Course in Miracles really resonated, and it was so sweet to my soul if I ever saw any quotes. But I was throughout the years conflicted with it, because I would hear Jesus and Christ and things like that. And I grew up predominantly in a Muslim country, even though my family was not religious and they never pushed it on me at all. I was freaked out by it. And following the trails of the breadcrumbs that, A Course in Miracles has left me over the years, and joining Business Miracles, I had no idea that the teachings were A Course in Miracles teachings. So I feel like finally starting to study the course and then coming into Business Miracles and the teachings that are based on that have really anchored and strengthened and built my connection to the divine. And it's so sweet to my soul, just because even culturally, it was all based on guilt and things like that. So what that has also provided for me, and the tools that I'm given, is I sit down and I take care of my own energy and see what is in my head and what I need and what I desire before I can actually be available for other women, and other people to serve and support them. And one of the tools that has become a staple of my day is auto writing. I meditate and then I auto write, and I get to know really every day, know myself. And OFTUs, order form to the universe, which is, is my call to order with my business partner, which is the divine. And also I've adapted so easily and beautifully the self-assessment to just kind of eliminate that voice, that judgmental, oh my God, did I do this right? Or oh my God, I didn't do that right. It just kind of calms my nervous system and it allows me to return, just do it again. And that's what A Course in Miracles and your teachings are, that we all, so highly sensitive or not, we all need to really know and believe that there's nothing that we are guilty for, that we're just here to love and be loved and do it again and again and again.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So beautiful, so powerful. And it's so interesting to hear you talk about that, relationship with the spiritual and psychological curriculum of A Course in Miracles. And for myself and my relationship with the Course is I was not raised in any specific religion, except my grandmother was very Catholic, but I didn't go to church on a regular basis. So I know that when I connected with the Course as a teenager, I was also like, I don't know about this language. But I love that you're speaking to, the power of A Course in Miracles, especially because when you and I first connected, June 2020, I had just started a weekly activation series where we've gone through the 50 foundational miracle principles of A Course in Miracles. And honestly, that's the most I've ever brought the teachings of the Course into A Course in Business Miracles, where it's always been a foundation for me, but I draw from all different kinds of sources in the teachings and trainings that I provide in the Highly Sensitive Leadership Training Program. So I do find it like so divine to hear about like your experience previous, and that just as you and I were connecting is the time where I've had this value add-on of those weekly activations. And again, like been diving deeper into bringing the Course forward more than ever before. So that's synchronistic.
Wow. Tell me about it. Like I said, the language of A Course in Miracles kind of scared me and I was resisting, but it would keep coming through different spiritual thought leaders, and finally, as my spirituality was deepening just before the pandemic, I decided I'm going to study this by myself. And I started it, and 21 days into it, the lockdowns, pandemic, everything happened. And it was just too much. And I was like, I can't handle this and handle, everything else. So I stopped. And that year, a few months later, I ended up joining Business Miracles, and I noticed I was on right the beginning of the principles. And because of that, I guess willingness and starting the momentum, one day I received an email because I subscribed to Marianne Williamson, that she was starting to do the mornings with Marianne as of January 1st, studying the work for students. So talk about synchronicities, and, I'm just constantly smiling from ear to ear. And, sometimes I'm like, I just want to scream and let everyone know what's happening here. But I've never felt more sure and at peace that I'm in the right place and just home.
So again, so beautiful and so powerful, because I know that so many highly sensitives feel the exact opposite, right? So especially when you're speaking to that aspect of guilt, when we're untrained as highly sensitives, we spend the majority of our time feeling guilty as part of that shadow of over responsibility, as part of that shadow of overprotection, part of that shadow of overwhelm. But you're so beautifully speaking to that it can be a different way. And that we don't have to be beholden to those shadows, and we don't have to be beholden to that guilt. So, Macy, then what do you see is next for you? What is on the horizon for you and your highly sensitive leadership?
I see my purpose as being, demonstrating that there is a different way of living the truth. And my sole purpose is to be able to, just like I said, demonstrate, whether that's through my own business or another outlet. It's just what I know now is that I have chipped away at so many walls and layers that I built around myself to kind of keep myself, small or be different, that, I'm not afraid to be open to different possibilities. And that divine connection now has really helped me to have inspired ideas and tap into my creativity, where before I felt, like I was stuck in just one way, one outlet. I was really defined and identified with, the brow girl. Who's going to want to listen to the brow girl? Who's going to want to, follow the brow girl's lead? But now I don't think that. So I know I'm supported. I know I'm in the right place, and I'm just going with the flow of the divine guidance, I guess. Yeah.
So exciting. So exciting. I love hearing you talk about tapping into that highly sensitive strength of creativity and the expansion that's allowing you to experience, and then, allowing you to serve for others as well. And I'm so excited to see what is next for you. So what would you have to say then, maybe to someone else who's listening as a highly sensitive, and they're really feeling, just really stuck in those shadows that we can experience, again, like that overwhelm, over responsibility, over protection. Maybe they're feeling in that locked, limited space in terms of what they're able to create that you were describing. What would you say to them as maybe a possibility of a first step to something different?
Well, I would say if they're in that space and they want change, they want something different, and they're willing to put in the work. One of your teachings recently is just constantly with me, and something you said that really, really resonated and has made a bigger shift now. Another shift is that thinking the same ways and doing the same things. It's that pathway in the jungle, that the neural pathways keep lighting up, and then eventually you just think that's the only way. Please know in your heart that there's so many different ways. You just have to be willing to stop walking the same path. If you're walking into the wall constantly, you have to realize that you have to do something different. If you've been doing the same thing or following, the same path as the 80%ers and all these, everybody's a coach now, and everybody has an online course these days telling you how you should do social media, you should do this, you should do that. And if you're doing it and you're putting in all this effort and it's not giving you the same results, then please accept that there is a different way. And it may be scary. For me, it was super scary because at the beginning of the pandemic, I wanted to come out of the pandemic and be like, here's what I did, here's my academy, here's my courses. And when I joined, I thought you guys were going to give me the formula and I was just going to, run with it. But then despite the resistance, despite the fear, despite the, oh my God, what am I going to show? When am I going to launch this thing that I'm supposed to make? I realized that there's so much deep work, and that deep work will translate into the outer transformation that you're looking for. It may take a little bit longer, but so be it. Like, where do you have to go? You will be provided for, you will be supported, and it will be worth it. So much more worth it. The peace, the calm, owning my own brain is something that I will not put a value on. Like, it is completely just the biggest gift that's coming out through all of this. So make the choice. The choice is yours.
So
it's available for everyone.
Yes. So well said. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your leadership with us today. Thank you for allowing us to have an inside view. And I always love when I get to connect with you more deeply. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing us the space and sharing your wisdom and your light with all of us so that we could be where we are. Without the space that you've created and your teachings and you, it would not have been possible for me. I couldn't even dream about it.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you. And for those of you listening, thank you too. Until next time. Thank you for being a part of this Business Miracles podcast episode and for beginning to dip your toe into the journey of highly sensitive leadership training. If you are ready to truly use your sensitivities as strengths in all parts of your work and life, I invite you to connect for a one-on-one chat. You will experience being deeply listened to, and together we'll get a sense of whether the highly sensitive leadership training programs are the best next step for you and your highly sensitive journey at this time. Just go to www.claritycall.com to schedule a conversation. We so look forward to connecting with you. Talk to you soon.